stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I have the roll call?
Councilmember Bach?
Here.
Councilmember Stimmel?
Here.
Councilmember Williams?
Present.
Councilmember Strobel?
Yes.
Councilmember Cerveny?
Here.
Mayor Thornton?
Here. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. If there are no requests for any items to be removed, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we're into staff reports. I do have a few items I'd like to share with the council this evening. First of all, I want to thank everybody that was involved with the Christmas festival a couple weekends ago. It was a great festival. I want to give a special thank you to Melinda Masna, who's here this evening. She's the chairperson for the festival. She did a phenomenal job again this year. All the volunteers and business owners and sponsors who contributed to the festival. Special thanks to La Center Church, La Center Lions, and La Center United, who all provided either hot chocolate or cookies and treats for everybody that was at the festival. They actually didn't provide them to everybody because they ran out of cookies. It was really crowded that night, but it was great that they were there to do it. And of course, the students and faculty from the La Center schools that partaked in the festival with the choir and the band and the Masters of Ceremonies, the three individuals that kept us entertained with their skits throughout the night. Clark Fire Rescue they did a phenomenal job this year. Kyle Gardner with Lasertronics, he provided the light show this year. Thought it was great. And of course, the crew from Public Works. I think the city, they just did a phenomenal job decorating the city, getting ready for the evening, and it turned out really well. So I'm proud of the city employees as well. So special thank you to everyone. Good job, Matt.
Good job.
Next, just a couple items for our calendar. The second meeting for this month is scheduled for December 26th, which is the day after Christmas. And I just wanted to ask the council if you would prefer to have the meeting next Wednesday on the 19th instead, or if we should just leave it for the 26th.
Do we have anything that we need it for?
Well, that's a good point. I don't know that we really, we could probably cancel a meeting. I've never done that before, but we can leave that as an option.
I'm good either the 19th or just cancel it outright. If we don't have anything on the agenda. I mean, budget's done.
If something comes up between now and,
I can't make
We've
it.
adopted the budget, right?
the budget's adopted.
So that's the only real reason to have that last minute meeting.
Then if the council's okay with that, we'll just not have the second meeting in December. Tom?
Yeah, no, it sounds good to me.
Okay.
I'm fine either way.
Okay, well then we'll just, we'll get a pass. That's not happened before.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Okay. And then just a reminder to the council that we will be having our council retreat January 26th. We'll be at the Public Works Conference Room beginning at 9 o'clock, go roughly from 9 till 3. And Mr. Lloyd Halverson will be facilitating the meeting again this year. So hopefully everybody has that on their calendar. And then the city offices will be closed Monday, December 24th and Tuesday, December 25th to celebrate Christmas. And then we'll also be closed again on Tuesday, January 1st for New Year's Day. And those holidays are for non-essential personnel. So then I have one other item that I want to share with the council, and I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Jeff Swanson. Jeff is started with the city as our contract community development director. Jeff began working with the city on Monday, and it's just great to have him on board. I just have a little couple of comments here about Jeff. Jeff and his family live in Vancouver. His wife is a teacher in the Evergreen School District, and they have 2 daughters, ages 14 and 11, and 2 very large dogs. Jeff formerly worked as city manager in Battleground and as a director of economic development for Clark County. Prior to that, he worked as a consultant as adjunct faculty at Portland State University, and he also worked in the private sector managing operations of large industrial companies. Jeff holds graduate and undergraduate degrees in economics and systems science from the Portland State University. So he comes to the city with a great deal of experience, knowledge, and expertise. And I'm very pleased that he's going to be working with us for a while. So I want everybody to welcome Jeff. If you'd like to take just a few minutes, Jeff, and tell us a little bit about yourself. And
Sure. Well, Mayor kind of covered the high points there. But yeah, it's been a couple months since I've been to a city council meeting, and so it'll be refreshing to come to a short one.
yeah, always.
I've been in public sector service for about 5 years with the county and with the city of Battleground, and focused in my work in both those jurisdictions on placemaking and good planning and development practices. So excited to be here and to help the city push some exciting projects along, especially out at the junction here in the downtown core, and so a lot of neat things going on here in the center. And, great to be here. Any questions from council?
Yeah,
Welcome aboard. Great to have you.
yeah, no, great. Yeah, Jeff will be focusing on economic development initially, and meeting with business owners, property owners, developers, and see if we can get something going at the junction and downtown as well. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. Look forward to working with you, Jeff.
Thanks, Council.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for this evening. Next, we have Mr. Cairns here for the attorney's report.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I've figured out that I could show up every 6 or 8 months and give the same report. So I'm going to do that. The litigation that is never going to end is still ongoing. The appeals of the second compliance order issued by the Growth Management Hearings Board, all the parties have appealed that, and it'll be headed to the Court of Appeals, but we're not probably going to consolidate it with the currently pending appeal, so there's no risk of slowing it down. All the briefing is done on that appeal. We would expect a scheduling order from the court maybe this month that would hopefully set the hearing, the oral argument for the Court of Appeals sometime in the spring. Maybe. It would be a 3-judge panel in Tacoma, and the hearing would last 1 to 2 hours. So that's the plan. That's the hope. And no telling how long after that a decision would be. They're not really under any deadline. So, any questions? That's it.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next, we have council comments. Excuse me, Councilmember Ball.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I don't think there can be enough thank yous for all who were involved with the Christmas festival. I don't want to leave anyone out, so I will just issue one big thank you to all those who were involved. It's a beautiful evening. I think the attendance was significantly greater than it was in 2017, and all had a good time. So it was a very successful endeavor. I'd like to welcome Jeff to the city. I think we will find a few things for you to do, which will keep you busy. And last, since we will not have another council meeting this month, I just want to wish everyone Merry Christmas. That's why I wore the red sweater tonight, too. So, Merry Christmas to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Stemmel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo your comments on the on the tree lighting. It was a great job. It was awesome. The bazaar was pretty awesome too. I had a little concert to go to there. My wife got an amazing picture of that laser light show. It really was incredible. A lot of fun. There was a ton of people there, and we probably ran out of cookies because of my kids. Sorry. No one was stopping them, so I didn't know where they were. I wore my red sweater yesterday. Wish everyone Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Sullivan.
Yeah, it pretty much echoed the same thing that they just said, but I was in Florida during that Christmas celebration, and I got phone calls down there telling me how great it actually was. So it was a good job. The sign at the bridge with the speed limit flashing and telling you your speed limit, that's a nice addition. It's a real nice addition. I see a lot of brake lights coming down that hill. People are actually paying attention now. You know, that's always been my pet peeve. We'll do 35, 40 miles an hour down that hill, and then once they get in the town, they just keep doing 35, 40 right in through the town. So I think that was a nice addition. So
Good.
with that, Merry Christmas and a very safe New Year to everyone.
Great. Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I got passed over like chopped liver. I saw the Christmas celebration. Been wearing a red suit all day, and I was a little beat, so I didn't get a chance to go. But it looked like it was great, and thank you, everybody who participated, especially Melinda for driving that thing. I know it's a tough job. Busy time right now. We had some issues with our railroad that you probably saw. Got them all fixed. Trains will be on the track. And what I wanted to say is we are running another set of trains next weekend as well. It's not on the schedule. We're adding that on to try to get more people out at Christmas time, and that'll be running the steam engine. So that'll be pretty dramatic, and it really shows off in the cold weather. The colder it is, the more steam there is.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see. But other than that, everybody have a great holiday. Be safe. Stay with your family. Have fun. Thanks. That's all.
Thank you.
I hate being last.
Well,
Well, we should draw straws then.
we can have Doug go again after you then.
He always has something to say.
I didn't wear my red anything. But I too would like to echo everyone's wishes for a wonderful Christmas and a safe New Year's. And thank you, Melinda, and staff, and everyone involved. It's great to see the attendance growing each and every year, and the generations mixing. The increase in kids each year, I think, is just a wonderful event. And you do a bang-up job on all of our community events, and it does take a lot of work. So we thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So next we have staff reports. We do have a staff report from Chief Denny. He's not here this evening, so council, you have that in your packets. If you have any questions for the chief, he'll be back on the job on Monday. So then the next staff report we have is from Public Works, and Mr. Matt Jenkins will present. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, council members. Mayor, are there any questions on this month's staff report? I would like to go back to the Christmas festival.
Sure.
On Park County today, there's a video and pictures that are accessible as well, so there's a really good video. Dustin's actually viewed it and says it's top quality, so if you want to go back and revisit that, that's something as well. And I would like to thank Melinda as well. Her interface with our department was incredible, and everything that gone on with our community support, so.
Great. So just, I guess, one thing maybe you could just update the council on, Matt, is the preparation. We've been fortunate not to have any ice yet this year or snow, but maybe you can just update us on what the Public Works is doing in preparation for that eventuality.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, they're going through, they have gone through and assessed all the winter equipment, all the brine sprayers, the sanders, and the plows, and all the truck's equipment with basically plow utilities on the front, just to make sure it's ready to go. We're keeping an eye on the weather. Anytime it drops around freezing, we're going to go ahead and at least brine the center road out to the junction. If it gets much more below that, there's a good amount of moisture there. We'll definitely do the arteries in town as well. So keep a close eye on it, and make sure everybody remains safe.
Great. Yeah, appreciate that.
I understand you've identified a couple of misconnections.
Yes. I believe in a council member's neighborhood. We did, and thanks for bringing that up. We found some cross connections. It was not specific to any one home builder. We think it's a problem with the as-built by the developer. I don't want to get too far off the weeds, but we've identified it. What we're going to do is, we've already corrected the cross connections, but going forward, we're going to put in place a system to be able to check those on the city and check it off before occupancy can occur in any new construction. So we'll check that off ourselves.
Okay, help me understand this. The misconnections that were found go back to a number of years ago, I guess, when the initial infrastructure was installed.
Correct.
Were the pipes similar in appearance or identical? Did that contribute
They
to
are
that?
identical in appearance.
Okay. Are they okay? And then how about today, though? Does that possibility still remain, or is there a visual difference, let's say, in new construction?
Both phases of that have been completed for some time, so in that specific neighborhood, that potential still exists. Tony and I are actually working on that, identifying two different, you can get pipe in almost any color. So we want to go, moving forward, we definitely want to identify a specific color for storm, a specific color for sewer, so there's not this, if a developer puts the wrong depths on the pipe on their as-bills. So, and that's what we're attributing this to.
Okay.
If they got the depths.
Thank you.
Down.
Yeah, okay.
You bet. Any other questions?
Get to feeling better.
Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Next, the city engineer, Tony Cooper, will have a update on the city capital projects staff report. Tony?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So I'll just give a quick update on some of the projects. The roundabout, we issued a substantial completion last week, and WashDOT local programs came out and did an inspection. They inspected for ADA compliance and other things that they see. They had no comments. So the next step is we're going to generate a punch list on items that the contractor needs to fix. And then once he fixes those, we'll get a physical completion. But there's a lot of federal paperwork that still has to be completed for the federal funding. So we're going to keep working on that. WashDOT's going to do some spot checks and probably an audit later on. So that it'll be ongoing. Spencer and Tim River Guardrail. The contractor Peterson Brothers completed the guardrail construction. And I just need to do a final inspection, and then once we get the invoice, we'll file that or make a claim with the insurance carrier for reimbursement of that. The community reader board project, we actually I opened up bids today. We had 5 bidders for that, and the low bidder, apparent low bidder was Hammer Electric for just over $38,000. The bids varied quite a bit, but that looked like they're the low bidders. So in January, I'll prepare a staff report and try to budget for that. So I think that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
On the roundabout over here, the centerpiece, does that steel get any treatment? Is there something else going in there? Because it looks like there's Nelson studs sticking out of it or something.
No, it's still supposed to have a natural look. Eventually, over time, it will rust more. That's the.
Oh,
that's the nature.
okay. I didn't know if there was like a stone veneer or something going on it. Because
No,
those
you're
studs
talking
were
about
sticking.
in the center where the swans are bolted.
Well, the swans are sticking out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw some studs in there, and I thought maybe that's going to get some mesh or something tied to it.
No, that'll just over time. It's supposed to have a kind of natural, constructed look. But it'll eventually, over time, it'll rust more. It'll have more of a rusted
Okay,
appearance. So
okay.
it'll change color over time.
Okay, no, that's cool. I noticed that on Aspen, the spring at around 7th Street is reappearing again.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we'll have to address in the future. I'm not sure what we could do. I mean, obviously, we can dig it up and you know, as part of a project, maybe pavement preservation might be a good way to fix that, you know, dig it up and then put some new basin and
Drain it.
yeah, and we might have to do some subsurface drainage piping to kind of drain that too.
Like they did over on 18th and 18th right there, right as you come into Southview Heights. They did that several years ago. It was before you
Yeah,
came in.
Yeah. No, I do recall hearing about that, yeah.
Yeah, so,
We did that on the Center Road too.
yeah, I just noticed it's came back, and if it gets cold, it'll freeze, and it's a big ice spot then.
Yeah, Lockwood Creek is another one,
Yeah.
where they have, a lot of springs are coming up, and so it's an ongoing situation, and we just have to either try to get funding to fix the roads, or just do some repairs as necessary.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
So we have one other staff report this evening from Finance Manager Dustin Bailey, and he'll update the council on the TDS building.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In front of you, you have staff report. I provided a little background, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but the important piece of the background is that on November 14th, the council ratified the purchase and sale agreement with Lewis River Telephone, provided the inspection reports were favorable. So tonight, I want to report back. The city completed all the necessary inspections on the building, and none of the reports that came back had anything substantial beyond road maintenance. On page 2 of the staff report, I provided a breakdown of the repair maintenance costs to bring the building up to have it taken so it can be used. These are all high estimates from these contractors, so with a total of $22,000 at the end. Probably going to come in a little bit below that, just depending on some of the variables, especially with the roof and gutters. So right now, the city staff are working with the mayor to complete all the necessary documents and the wire transfer to complete the transaction, closing tomorrow, December 13th. After that time, the city staff will start working with the contractors to schedule all these repairs, and hoping to have all that done early January. Once the maintenance and repair items are complete, then the city staff will work with the mayor to start determining what we need to do to the building to bring it up to operational status. And that's where we stand with the TDS building. Any questions?
No, those
Great
numbers
report.
look good.
Yeah,
Those numbers look really good.
Yeah, well, good
It was
job.
actually quite a bit below what we anticipated.
Yeah.
I did have a question in the negotiating process. Did we try to get the seller to absorb some of those costs? Because if I put my house up for sale, that's going to be found, and then as a seller, I will be expected to make the
This
corrections.
is a little bit different than your typical real estate transaction because it was an auction. They're not
Okay.
negotiable on those items.
Yeah. So what happened was, again, it was an auction. The city was the high bidder in the auction, but the minimum price was not met at the auction. So the city had the opportunity to negotiate the price with the seller. So through that process, the transaction was supposed to be final the day of the sale, which would have been, the situation we had to pay a 5% down payment the day of the sale. It would have been non-refundable, and we would have had to close in 30 days. So what we requested was that, because it didn't really happen at the auction, that the city have an additional 30 days to go through a more comprehensive due diligence with the building. That's why we were able to do all these additional inspections and look things, take a harder look at a lot of these items, with the agreement that had there been something structurally wrong with the building or something major, that the city could have walked away from the transaction and gotten a refund. So that was what was negotiated, basically.
I realize it was a good deal, good package overall. I just like to squeeze, get as much as we can out of the deal. So.
We did the best we could, and I think it turned out just fine, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Dustin.
So next is citizens' public comment. If anybody would like to address the council, please step up to the podium, and if you give us your name and address, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Now is the time.
Nelda Perryman, 824 East Pioneer Loop, La Center, Mayor, Council, and citizens. I want to say that living in La Center is great. There are lots of caring people, and I have been helping a family here in La Center recently. And once the word got out, I could not believe the response I got from the citizens. The little 3-year-old girl is now sleeping on a bed with covers instead of on the floor. They have a couch to sit on. And believe it or not, they now have a refrigerator. I want to thank the guys that helped move the refrigerator. Oh, Jim Irish isn't here now. We needed muscle. It was a big refrigerator. But I just want people to realize how lucky we are with what we have, with where we live, and to appreciate it. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melinda Masnight. I live at 5305 Northeast 384th Street. And I just want to say, of course, thank you to everybody who contributed, who helped, stepped up. Your wife, Johnston, your wife stepped up to help, and Liz in the background. A lot of people in the background. They all came in, and I'm just one to pull people in, and they're the ones that really do all of the work. I mean, they did a phenomenal job. I was really, really proud of all the kids who came out and helped and performed and, did the emceeing and then the church. And I could go on and on with lists of names, and they just all did an amazing job.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm very happy with my community. Really cool city to live in, and to see everybody come together and want to have something so much, to put together and have fun doing it. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about a thank you, Melinda?
Yeah.
Good evening. Never done this before, so Mr. Mayor, City Council. My name's Mark Pearson. I own, with my girlfriend, the apartments behind Unique Things Casino parking lot that we've been working on. What we would like to do is two things. One of them, I don't think needs to be done now, but I think in the future with all the homes being built by us, our crosswalk, we'd love to have when they push the button, big flashes for safety. We've got a bus stop that picks up and drops off kids right there in front of our complex of 3 units, or 3 buildings. So, like I said, I don't think it's a necessary thing, but what we've noticed in the past year and a half that we've lived here, there's been a lot more traffic, of foot traffic, people walking up and down, people running, people taking their dogs and their kids, especially during the summer. So, I know that all this stuff costs money. But the other thing, and this I will do myself, if you guys give me the color, I will have no problem doing it. I'd like to get our curb painted in front of our fire hydrant that's literally right on our property, and get the fire hydrant painted. The reason is, there's a lot of people that will come and visit our tenants, and they don't realize there's a fire hydrant there. They don't realize, so I always have to go out and say, hey, move your car, I don't want you guys to get a ticket. And I noticed that the fire hydrant up here by the Chevron, the curb was painted. So, honestly, I will do it myself. I have no problem doing it. If you guys give me the color that the city requires, I'll get it matched, and I'll paint it, and I'll do it myself. It's not a problem. So, anyway, one last thing. Our daughter, who lives down in Portland, came up the other day, and as she was coming across the bridge, she went through the roundabout. She had never done it. She hasn't been up here for a while. She walks into our place, and she goes, I felt like I was driving into a Hallmark Channel movie town. She said, it was just beautiful. And I said, keep telling you, my son is really freaking nice. So, anyway, those are my two, yes, sir.
The crosswalk, is that crossing over to like just above Sadie and Josie's? Is that where you're talking about?
Yes, that's it exactly.
That is a dangerous spot to cross.
It's just dark at night.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know how much it needs to be done through this session of your budgets, but I would just really love it if you guys would kind of keep that in the back of your head. Because people do cross over like dusk, and there's a lot of traffic, with people coming home from work. And they've actually slowed down since the police chief put, I asked him if he would put the portable sign there, flash, and it said 25. We don't have any kids in our units in any of our apartments, but there's a lot of kids just across the way and up the way. So that, and like I said, I'll paint the curb. I don't mind doing the work. Just give me the color. I just don't want people to keep parking there, and I don't want the potential to ticket for friends that are coming to see our tenants. And people do park in now with the new houses behind us, or the new buildings behind us. There's a lot more parking on this property. So anyway, those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't think that it's just the setting that makes this town great. It's the citizens. It's the people volunteering to paint fire hydrant on their own, bringing to attention, organizing things. I think they all need to be recognized.
Good point.
Skip Carlson, 35915 Northwest Jenny Creek Road. Cheers and jeers, no jeers, just cheers. The flashing sign up at the junction intersection, Paradise Park Road and the Center Road, I'm real pleased to see that up there. That's so, they come so fast, it does help slow them down. I'm still an advocate of seeing the city consider, rather than 35, go 25 through there, just simply from safety, and perhaps consider dropping the speed limit on La Center Road from 50 to 40. I'm an advocate of that. I just now came from Vancouver, and when this flashy sign at the end of the bridge has run its gauntlet there, we might consider, or it might be considered, to put that on the off-ramp on that slip lane, because there's the speed, it seems to be really difficult to slow down coming off the northbound side into that slip lane. They roll right on in there at a high rate of speed. So cheers for the one on the westbound, and you might consider putting one on that eastbound off the interstate in the slip lane.
Good, very good. Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Skip.
Yeah.
Al Villa, 152 West 15th Street. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I think you guys have done a pretty good job this year. Hopefully next year we'll be able to get some more people here by coming up with something more controversial. That way we can have more people come to the meetings.
Cookies.
Thank you, Al. Jeez. Okay. I think that pretty much concludes public comment this evening. So we do have one item under new business. The city engineer, Mr. Cooper, will be presenting, and it has to do with a surplus right-of-way at Paradise Park Road.
Thanks, Mayor. City Council. So this item, the Cowles Indian Tribe has requested to either purchase or have the city vacate right-of-way, which is the surplus right-of-way for the old Paradise Park Road alignment. So the Interchange Group LLC, you can see on this map, if you scan down a little bit, you see on the map, right there.
Excuse me, Al. Can you flip that switch, one of those switches behind you, darken the screen a little bit?
There's 3 parcels there that the Interchange Group owns, just on the west side of the new Paradise Park alignment and east of the I-5 ramp. And the hatched area there, which is LD 21, LD 22, and 23, that's the old, or the surplus right-of-way for Paradise Park, the old Paradise Park Road alignment. Anyway, they've requested that the city, that they purchase or vacate, or say vacates the right-of-way. It just so happens that that is actually the alignment that the CPU is going to use for the transmission lines, the overhead transmission lines. So there's also a map in there. If you scan down farther, well, you scan down, it shows blow-ups of the map of each one of those parcels and the actual boundary of the surplus right-of-way there, the dark boundary on each one of those parcels. That's the area that they have requested to purchase or make it. So if you keep scanning down farther, keep going down. So that's the second map. That's the existing right of way. So you keep going down,
Down.
and keep going down. There should be one more map at the end. That one right there. So CPU, we asked CPU about the easement they would need, and they basically, David Tetz at CPU said that they would need at least 20 feet on either side of the center of the transmission line, and then 10 feet on the north side where there's some existing faults, and then 5 feet where the guy wire is, 5 feet on either side of the guy wire. So that's the easement boundary that they have requested if the right-of-way is vacated. That's the extent of it. So what basically needs to happen is that there needs to be an appraisal to determine how much that value of that land is, and then if it is vacated or purchased by the tribe to include as part of their parcels there, then there needs to be an easement for the new transmission line. And there's a restriction. There's a restriction in that easement. The improvements could be no structures are allowed. It would be just landscaping or parking lot that they can place in that easement. So I guess the next step would be to appraise that value of that land. You could determine what the city would like to do with that. Is there any questions on it?
Tony, do you have any feel as to why they want this land? Extended parking, maybe? I mean, is that what?
No, I think they want to develop on it. I don't know exactly what they want to do, but that's their intent. They want to develop on it. I'm not sure what they want to put on there, but they want to have more usable land so that they can.
If sold, though, the easement will be between the Cowlitz and CPU, nothing to do with the center at that point, right?
It'll be between. Well, yeah, the easement will be granted by the city, but it would be sold. It would be between CPU and the tribe.
It would be a basic public utility easement that encumbers the land.
It would be an easement, but that would go along with that land. So it would be a utility easement, but it would be for that transmission line for maintenance and the construction of it.
And I'm going to assume they're fully aware of this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
absolutely,
they are.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they are. They've been told about this. And so the CPU's been involved with this discussion.
So this would just be basically parking to serve the large part of the parcel, which is theirs. And the vacation segment is like half an acre in size.
The vacation is around 23,000 square feet total of all those, just the surplus right away.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than half an acre. And so it looks like maybe a couple acres total that they would have. That's viable, sort of.
It gives them parking, that's all they can use it for, is that or growing weeds, so.
Right, but they own the teardrop is also theirs.
Mhm.
Yeah. So added all together, it's a couple acres at most.
Could be signage.
Maybe they'll put a big welcome sign there.
Yeah.
Well, my first reaction is I don't think we should vacate it. We need to see what it's worth.
Well, that's what we're doing.
This is what we're really talking about.
Yeah, I agree too, that the need is to obtain the appraisal, but not so much for the Cowlitz. For our own better understanding
Yes.
of the pricing up there. And before we proceed, I would suggest that we perhaps use this as additional leverage to bring the Cowlitz back to the table for additional discussions. Because those seem to have stalled over the last year. And there are still a lot of issues, not that we really need to talk through. I think we were on a good track of becoming good neighbors, and a meeting of the mind in terms of parks and trails all the way down, connecting into the center, that would benefit both neighbors. But I do have some undercurrents of pros and cons with proceeding with an outright sale of the property. Until we have those discussions and have those workshops with council to get everybody up to speed to the background.
I agree. I think the first step would be the appraisal sequence.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't have any value to us. We can't use it for anything. So, and if in fact we didn't sell it, we'd end up just having a bunch of telephone poles parked, or power poles in the middle of it
But we
anyway.
could put our city sign there too.
Well, we could still do that. We go up, just nail it on.
I mean, we have to look at all of the options
Yep.
before us, before we rush into a knee-jerk reaction that we can't do anything with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also, in that same vein about bringing the tribe to talk about stuff, I noticed that those orange fences that was to mark where signs were going seem to have disappeared. I don't know when that happened, but I was looking for them the other day and they weren't there.
Yeah. Well, you may have noticed that there has been some additional landscaping taking place at the Wood Center Junction. So I think while that's being done, the signs were taken down. But those were basically mock signs to,
Sure.
show
Size,
alternative.
wise, and location.
But I think we all had a chance to look at that and pretty much know where those were. Maybe Councilmember Stovall hasn't, but we can go back through that. So yeah, all that the city is requesting right now is that the council authorize the city to do the appraisal. We're not making a decision to sell any property or make any real significant changes. It's just to get additional information. But with regard to the easement, that easement would be in place before the transaction with the tribe takes place. So that easement would be, and I don't know what the word is, but it would be established. It's not something that Clark Public Utility would negotiate with the tribe after the fact. We would do it before the transaction takes
It'd
place.
go along with the land, would have to be in place first. So
Yeah.
Well, there's already additional utilities that run along that route, aren't there?
I don't think that there are. The CPU water realigned the new water line in the new Paradise Park Road, and all the miscellaneous utilities followed that same route.
Okay.
So I do not, I can't say for sure, so there has to be a title search and deed.
Years ago, there were
Yeah.
a number of fiber routes.
But
that
there-
were-
Yeah, I was just thinking that fiber.
I went out there this morning and I didn't see any markers, but there could be something that is old, yeah.
So, quick question, when we sell land, do we have to go by what the appraisal amount is, or are we able to mark that up?
Oh.
Just a question.
Willing buyer, willing seller. The deal is what a willing buyer would pay a willing seller for highest and best use.
Fair market value appraisal.
Perfect.
And understand that we don't even have an application for vacation yet. We've just gotten the phone call from Dave Barnett.
Yeah.
That's not official.
Right. Yep. Any other questions for Mr. Cooper?
Well, Mayor, I'll move the council authorize appraisal of the surplus right-of-way as described on exhibit and the legal description maps.
And second.
Been moved and seconded to authorize appraisal of the surplus right-of-way as described on exhibit, and thank you, and legal descriptions of maps. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council, thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Move to adjourn?
So with that, but before we adjourn.
Oh, that was next.
Yeah, we are not going to have another meeting this month. I do want to wish the council a very Merry Christmas. Everybody has a great holiday, gets to enjoy some time with their family and friends, and I want to thank you all for all your hard work and being part of the council, and it's an honor to serve with each and every one of you, so thank you for that, and also to wish the staff a Merry Christmas as well, and of course, all the residents and citizens of La Center too. So, Merry Christmas, and with that, I will entertain the motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn, again.
Move and second to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Don't stand in front of the door.
I went to Vancouver County, or Clark County Council and testified there on Tuesday. That's quite a setup with all